Welcome back to the great library of Foundrin. You've caught me at an opportune moment. You see, I'm about to finish translating a Brukish text. It seems to be a message from a prominent banner lord to his son, and includes cultural information on the matriarchal tribes as well as current events in the Ridelands. An unusual trove of information from mostly illiterate people. Would you like to hear? Excellent. My son, I'll be off on a mission that'll last a little longer than usual, and I may not return. If that is the case, I've decided that you should learn where I came from, so that you are better prepared to deal with the tasks I've set before you. Unlike you, I was not born in the Ridelands. I was raised in the tribes. Things are very different there. There are things you just can't do, no matter your strength. These rules are like invisible chains made by the long dead. You cannot break them. They are not made of fragile material, but the will of the mothers. And though they are larger in person, their real strength are their words. They have enslaved, saved, and banished, all with their tongue. Their world and ours are vast in the differences between them. I was born to the Evet-Ik tribe. Our mother kept me close till I was sent to live with my Barsh, a small group of men who practiced the same trade. They took care of me and taught me how to hunt and forage like they did. Most Barsh are herders. They provide the most for our tribe, but we had our place, far away for most of the time. My life was much the same day to day. We'd wake up before the sun, walk, and trek. Then, before the day was out, we'd try to catch something. Meanwhile, we'd pluck any plant that could be used. If we returned with more than we needed, someone would be sent to the rest of the tribe and give our excess to the mothers to divvy. Our brother, Sitkul Tertim, would go most often. I did not understand then why, but in time it became known. He was spending nights with a girl, a forbidden thing, as he had not been matched by a grandmother nor a mother. When his treachery was told to our mother, he was to be shunned. He was well loved by me, so this command was hard. I wished every day to seek him out, give him food and companionship, but my elderman in my Barsh warned me away from it. I did not see him again, and I spent many days wondering what befell my beloved Sitkul Tatum. I often thought that if I became renowned, I could ask that he return. To that end, I strove to better my skills, make myself useful to our mother and our tribe. I often went hunting alone or at night to catch more game, or greater beasts for greater glory. I made many foolish mistakes early on, but as my change from boy into man came, my progress quickened, my mind felt sharper, my legs stronger, my goal closer. It was not long till I was recognized as worthy of proving. One day, a sister came to our Barsh and told me that I was allowed in the next proving ceremony. I was still much younger than most of the contestants, but my will was unshaken. There was time before the proving, and so I abstained from hunting, and instead trained to fight my fellow Bruk, learned the rules, the weapons, and the skills. When the proving came, the men from our tribe who were chosen rode out to the fighting grounds to meet with the other tribes. The ceremony lasted days as we showed our skills to the mothers who had come to witness, and when it was done, the mothers went to speak. Then they called for those they favoured. I was among the chosen. I was taken to a large tent to be brought to a mother who had picked me, and there I was instructed to mate. It was a great honour, the one that I had strived for so long. Soon I could ask that my brother be returned to me, but after I performed my duty, I was rewarded with nothing. She asked me of my life, and when I brought up my brother's name, she stood up and ordered that I leave. I was forbidden to say his name and was sent out to return home early.
Soon the mother I had laid with was with child, and yet, as she filled, I felt emptied. Our time was pleasant, but I could not see why such an act would drive my brother to risk shunning. My bar celebrated with me, but it still did not fill me. I returned to hunting and spent many days thinking. On a hunt, the sister who had given me word that I was to attend the proving found me again. It was unclear what her purpose was, but I felt at ease in her presence. I told her my feelings, and she told me of hers. She too felt empty. Acting on behalf of her mother, she wished to make decisions over herself. I wished to have my decisions go beyond myself. We both wished for autonomy. There was something about her. She felt close to me, a reflection of my heart. And later that night, after she left and I returned to my barsh, I longed to see her. A feeling that I often felt towards my brother. I did not feel this desire long, as within the week we met again. I was hunting and she came to me. We talked and sat, did nothing, and yet the time we spent felt so full. I would return to my barsh with no game, but my heart was full. Time was spent faster than ever before in my life. Each day without her, I prayed the sun set faster. Each day I spent with her, I prayed the stars would never bloom. Soon it was more than her words I craved. It was her tongue that I first wanted to taste. This clever member that crafted such attention in words and beauty in her song. On one occasion, after several seasons of meeting, the stars had bloomed and we were still there. I leaned over as she spoke and placed my lips upon hers. With the bright moon watching, we continued to make decisions about each other. She was in charge of her own body for the first time in her life, and I was engaged with something bigger than myself. In the morning we realized the depths of our deed, and decided that the lives we had made for ourselves were worth risking. Life serving the mother, or hunting, was less meaningful than the moments we shared in each other's company. My joy was not to last, however. A few days after that night, I was set upon by armed sisters. They were told of my transgressions, and that I, like my brother before me, was to be shunned and cast out of the tribe. No one was to look at me, provide anything for me, or treat my wounds. I was to live a life alone from here till my death. I stayed in the valley for a time, hoping that my love, who had broken the mother's will to be with me, would do so again, and share our lives, but she never came. I spent months waiting. The seasons changed and the cold grew stronger. I finally saw her once more. She stood beside the mother who cast me out, and she did not look at me. It was then that I decided to leave. There was nothing in these hills and the plains for me. My brothers forsook me. The game had moved on, and so had my love. Is this what my brother had done? I had lived my life so far, just to see him again. Perhaps now I would find him once again, but where had he gone? I had hoped he'd remained nearby, but living in exile now, I understand that to stay through the winter would mean death. This is when I remembered the outcast raiders, a group of Bruk who refused the mother's love and lived as savages north of here, closer to the heart of the continent. Perhaps this is where my brother had gone. I set forth with little food and only that which I could make in my hands. My bow, a few clothes, shoes, and a bag of tools. I knew they were north, so I started walking that way. It took only a week to leave the land I had known. From here, each step would be the furthest from home I'd ever been. Soon I came to a great body of water, larger than any I had seen before. If the outcasts lived north, then this must be where they live. I could see it for days before I reached it. But as I grew closer, I still saw no signs that this was Badlands. I could see the camps of matriarchal Bruk every now and then. It was only when I reached the water's edge that I understood. I peered north, and beyond the great water I could see land. This is why we had never seen the raiders. They are blocked by a sea, a body of water so large you can scarcely see its end. At first I attempted to swim, but the water rippled strongly and seemed to attack. The water also stung. It clawed at my eyes and mouth, so I quickly returned to the shore. It must have been a great feat of the mothers to place such a wicked waters between the outcasts and their land. It's then I saw a beached log drifting in the waters, and my path across became clear. I struggled to reach the wood and drove it towards the other side. There was no returning. The wind and water were harsh, but there was no alternative. The crossing was started as the sun dipped low in the sky, and the fight with the sea lasted till long into the night. It is impossible to remember, as hunger, sleep, and exhaustion all took their turns against me. After dark, I no longer could see my destination, but what I do remember was succumbing to sleep before my feet had touched land, and waking to a day on the other side of these wicked waters. I drifted in and out of wakefulness as my body tried to decide whether or not to live or die. I was carried to a fire and treated with food and warmth. I had met the outcasts. Over the next few days I was recovering. I tried to learn about my surroundings. I was being healed by a woman, a great privilege. But when I tried to thank her, she grew angry and said she was only doing what her chief had instructed. She told me I was in the camp of a banner lord who had watched me wash ashore and wanted to see if I was as strong a combatant as I seemed for crossing the seas. When I had the strength to stand, I was brought out of the tent I was being cared for, and was met with the sight of many Bruk. Nowhere I looked did I see two who were alike, except a pair of twins. These weren't all exiles either. Some of these men were born here, and it was a great shock to see women engaging with the men. They were sparring and drinking and wrestling. No one bowed or averted their gaze. But the greatest shock was when the chief walked out of their tent, and I saw a large beard. The chief was no woman. He was a Bruk man, old and strong, with bright white hair flowing long. He walked up to me and slammed me to the ground. He shouted and asked me questions of who I knew, and named people I had never heard before. He asked if I could ride, or how to maintain war gear, and when I answered no to all his questions, he smiled. He helped me up and said, "Then you will have no idea how to live here, and would die without me. But you will live with me. I will teach you how to live, and you will fight with my raiders. And if you do not, I will kill you." Time wore on, and I lost my distaste for riding. After all, I was a great hunter. My bow skills were already top-notch, and once I mastered riding and close-quarters combat, I became an excellent raider. I even started collecting renown and reputation of my own. I felt powerful and strong. For the first time in my life, I was in charge of my own destiny. By the deeds of my hand, my life was made, and years later, when Suk died in a skirmish with another Bannerlord, it was not difficult to convince many of the White Axes to stay with me, and it was only time between then and now. I am Bannerlord Nam, and you are my son.
Beast of the East here to tell you the good news. We're back with a vengeance. All thanks to my homie Colin Walker, who did the vast majority of the artwork and the voice acting on this one. We are taking applications. Now, I need you to smash that subscribe button and make some sweet, sweet love with that notification bell. Now, if you don't mind, comment. Get in a weird, argument in the comment section down there. I really don't care. I need this shit to get recommended. That way we can quit our day job so we can give you that sweet, sweet contact. Now, you got your orders. Go and do it.